Good morning, children. So, here we are going to start with a new chapter, that is production. For the purpose of video, I have divided this chapter into two parts, part 1 and part 2. So, this is part 1. Here we are starting with the meaning and functions of production department. Every organization who are involved in manufacturing something or production of something has a production department. So before starting the functions, let us understand the meaning of the word production. Production is concerned with the conversion of raw materials into semi-finished and finished products by applying various processes and procedures. What do we do in the production? Basically, production is the process whereby a number of activities are involved which helps in converting the raw materials into finished goods or semi-finished goods. For example, a log of wood, it is a raw material, but when a log of wood is converted into a table or a chair, then the process of converting that log of wood into a table or a chair is known as production. And every organization having a production department needs to manage the production activities. So management of production activities, the products so produced, the cost incurred, the materials, etc., is a part of production management. So let us discuss the meaning of production management. Production management involves planning, organizing, and controlling of the production activities of an enterprise so that the objectives of efficiency and economy are achieved. Production management involves a number of activities such as planning the products, organizing their processes, and controlling them to see whether they are going in the right direction or not of the production activities of an enterprise so that better quality products are produced in lesser time in better quantity, more quantity, so that the organization can achieve its goals and objectives in the best possible manner. Production management refers to the coordination or the integration of materials, personnel, that is human resource, machinery, money, and other resources to ensure the supply of required goods and services. So under production management, various materials, men, that is the human resource, machinery, and money, all these resources are integrated, coordinated so as to ensure the supply of required goods and services, or the demanded goods and services. Let us discuss the definition of production management. This definition of production management is given by Bufa. He says, production management deals with decision making related to production processes. That means production management involves the taking of decisions regarding what are the processes to be involved in the production so that the resulting goods or services are produced according to the specification. Why to decide these processes? So that the goods and services whichever are produced according to the specifications which are required in the amounts and by the schedule demanded, so that we can produce the goods and services in the amount according to which the demand of that particular good is there in the market, and at minimum cost, so as to involve minimum cost of production. In accomplishing these objectives, production management is associated with two broad areas of activities: the design and control of production system. So Bufa, according to Bufa, there are two main activities in production management. One is the design of production and another one is the control. Basically to see that what we have designed, the same design has to be followed, whether it is being followed or not. So this was the definition of production management by Bufa. Let us discuss the functions of production department. As you can see in this chart, there are 10 functions of production department. 5 of it we'll be discussing in this video, and 5 of it we'll be discussing in the upcoming part 2 video. So the functions of production department can also be written as importance or can also be asked as objectives. So it involves points like design of product, design of production system, production planning and control, selection of location, plant buildings, selection of plant and equipment, layout of plant, research and development, manufacturing, and quality control. So here the word plant, as you can see, is repetitive. The word plant means the industrial setup involving machinery, etc. So let us discuss these functions in detail. The first function is design of the product. The product to be produced by a firm is decided by its top management. Once the product is decided, the production department prepares its design. The form design is concerned with the shape, size, and appearance of the product, whereas the functional design involves the working condition of the product. So, the very first step or the first function of the production department is to design the product, to prepare a layout of the product, that what should a product look like which is to be produced. So this particular design of the product is decided by the topmost authority or the top management of an organization, and once the product is decided, the production department prepares the design. The product to be produced is decided by the top management, and the design of the product decided by the top management is further decided by the production department. The production department prepares its two design. One is the form design and one is the functional design. Form design is basically considered with the physical appearance, the looks, the shape, the size of the product, whereas the functional design is concerned with the working condition of the product. What will be the work of the product, etc. Then second function, design of production system. So design or formulation of the production system involves the choice of an appropriate production system. That means what are the processes to be followed, how the product is to be produced, what are the steps to be followed, etc. There are basically three types of production systems, namely job production, then process production, then intermittent production. How many types of production system are there? There are three types of production system. One is job production, then second is process production, and the third one is intermittent production. So these are the production systems out of which the organization needs to decide upon one production system which it feels best suited for. The choice of one out of them depends upon the type of product to be manufactured, the scale of production, etc. So the choice depends on the organization, and the organization will decide upon the production system on the basis of the type of product it is producing, the scale of production, that means in what quantity it is producing the product, etc. The third function of production department is production planning and control, which is better known as PPC. It is the short form, abbreviated form of production planning and control. So once the product and the production system are designed and developed, the production department starts product planning. That means once the production system and product design is finalized, the production department starts working on the production planning. What is production planning? Production planning is concerned with the planning of production activities before the actual operations begin. Before the work of production actually starts, the layout is prepared well in advance as to what will be the raw materials, what will be the quality, what will be the quantity, what will be the steps, etc. It lays down the requirements for materials, machinery, manpower, etc., and establishes the exact sequence of operations for each part or assembly. That means it has to be decided in product planning that what will be the quantity to be produced for which, what will be the quantity of the materials required, what will be the type of machinery required, what will be the amount of manpower required, etc. A time schedule for the start and completion of each and every item is also prepared. Very important. Whenever the production work takes place, it has to be decided beforehand that at what time the production will begin and at what time the targeted production shall be produced and completed. Then production planning is followed by production control. Obviously, when you have planned a number of activities, only planning will not do. You have to make sure, you have to follow up, you have to check whether the plans so made have been executed efficiently or not. So this is production control. Production planning is followed by production control. Production control is a function of comparing actual production with the predetermined standards and taking necessary corrective actions. In production control, we see that whether whatever plan we had made regarding the production, the materials, the process, the time, etc., so whether those plans are well executed and goals have been achieved or not, and if there are any loopholes, then the necessary corrective steps needs to be taken up. The fourth function of production department is the selection of location. Very important and effective point. In a point, it states that the work of the production department is also to select the location of the industrial unit, the production area, because we cannot produce anywhere we feel like. The organization, the production department needs to choose the best possible location for producing the goods and services so that the cost incurred comes to the minimum. Only then the profits can be maximum. So the locational decision is influenced by a number of costs, that is, example, cost of land and buildings, transportation cost, labor cost, cost of fuel and power, etc. That means while selecting a location, many costs, expenses needs to be considered and concerned. For example, the cost of land and building means putting up an industrial unit, then transportation cost involved in carrying and transporting raw materials and finished goods, then labor cost, the cost of bearing human resources, human personnel, workforce there, cost of fuel and manpower, etc. Several other factors like the scale of operation, production requirements, availability of site, personal preferences, government policy, etc. also exercise an influence on the choice of plant location. So basically these are the points which are considered for selecting a suitable location. The choice of the place where factory or plant is to be located has an important influence on the cost of production. Basically, the plant should be located at such a place where production and distribution costs are minimum. So the location selection are based on these factors, the cost of land and building, transportation cost, etc., which we have discussed. And then the fifth function of production department is plant buildings. So the planning of factory buildings is an important problem of production management. Well planned buildings help to ensure economical and efficient production. The main problem arises to select a proper planned building. What should a plant layout look like or set up like? So a well planned building is very much required to ensure economical and efficient production. That means better production, more quantity in lesser time with least possible cost. So plant building should be designed to fit in the requirements and capacity of the plant. That means the building should be according to the size of the plant. It should not be that plant is big, large in size, but the building is small. Then we might not be able to work efficiently. It should be adaptable to changes in production processes and equipment. That means our plant building should not be rigid. It should not be fixed. It should be like such. It should offer flexibility. That means it can be changed according to the changes in the production techniques or the equipments or the processes. Plant building may be single storied or multiple or basically multi storied. The choice of plant buildings depends upon the type of equipment, the working conditions required, scale of operations, plant location, plant layout, etc. So these are the factors on which the selection of plant buildings are done. So these are the 5 functions which we have discussed of the production department, and there are remaining 5 points more to be discussed that we will be discussing in the upcoming video. Hope so that you have understood the functions till now. So this is the assignment based on this part. You have to answer the following short questions in your register, and again short question needs for 2 marks. So question number 1 says define production. So what you can write that production is a process whereby the raw materials are converted into semi-finished or finished goods or products and services by using various production processes and techniques. Then second question is what is product planning? So as we have discussed, what is product planning? Product planning is concerned with the planning of production activities before the actual operations begins. It requires or it lays down the requirements for materials, machinery, manpower, etc. and establishes the exact sequence of operations for each part or assembly. The third question, define production control. So this is also which we have already discussed. Production controls involves various activities which help in comparing the actual production with the predetermined standards and taking necessary corrective action. So these are the short questions which you are needed to write in your register. The second part is answer the following long question in your register. So you have to write short notes on the following functions. Why I have written it as a long question? Because you have to, this is single question where you have to write short notes on all the 5 functions of production department which we have discussed here. The design of the product, the design of production system, the production planning and control PPC, and selection of location and plant building. So for this you can refer to these points. Design of the product, you can write it as an answer. Then you can write short note on design of production system from here. Then on production planning and control, that is PPC from here. Selection of location and plant buildings from here. So these are the questions which you are required to do in your register. I hope the part so discussed till now is clear to you children. Go through the video once again, complete all your written work in your register and learn the chapters. Thank you children. Take care.